Welcome to TradingLounge, and we have a free week happening starting next Sunday or Monday. So if you know anybody, they can register here for free. Also too, we are taking on another analyst who will be covering the Indian market extensively. So that will be 7 of us now doing work, and starting with the NASDAQ here on the daily chart, we're looking at this particular trend up here. We can see that the trend up here is getting a little bit tired. It started off strong and it's getting a little bit tired now, and we kind of expected that. Well, expect number 8 here, the 18,000, to be a profit taking number, and it hasn't really reacted there in a strong way. It's helped up really quite nicely. So even though it's kind of weakish and we're getting overlapping wave structures, and you could count this little move in here in a variety of ways. But either way, we're still getting impulse waves to the upside, and the move down here is corrective. So we should continue to see upside for stocks and for indices. But at the same time, we're looking at 3 here and then back for 4, so we're still looking for more sluggish sort of moves here. Will we push up to this point here on this one? Not quite sure. We'll just have to count 5 waves as we move to the upside, but then that would be wave 4 and then wave 5 up here, and then a larger correction across this number here coming back. All this consolidation here will be support developing for further upside at a later stage. So if we move into this on the intraday here on 20,000 ticks, we'll see it a bit like this here. So I can see that the S&P needs to push up here. Let me just get this here, getting Monday morning brain happening. Monday morning is always a bit of a struggle, but look, anyway, just keeping this pretty simple here, looking for, we've only got 3 waves up here so far, so that we could actually have another low here. This is quite a complicated correction, but otherwise a move up and then an ABC pattern here, which we can look as wave 1 and 2 at this point, and then move up for 3, which would normally come in across the highs here, and 4 and 5. So you just got to be careful about this one more dip coming into play here for this market, because it's not set in stone yet, this particular move here. And the S&P is sort of much the same. This is a weekly chart here with 1 and 2, 1 and 2, very much like JP Morgan. This banks discount, not all the banks, some banks took off from the October-November low, and Bank of America was, BAC was started a year later. How time flies. So anyway, a weekly chart here, just to give you the picture, 1, 2, 1, 2, going up for the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 4th. So still quite a journey to the upside. So let's just go in and have a look at this on the daily quickly, and then on the intraday. So hi there, we've got a great opportunity coming up on April the 14th to the 21st. It's going to be a free week for TradingLounge. So you'll get access to 6 analysts that cover most markets, Forex, ASX stocks, trade recommendations for most markets, a great social chat, great education, currencies, commodities, swing trading, and so on, sectors, US sectors and US stocks. So it's a great little opportunity to check out TradingLounge, absolutely no cost whatsoever. Just put in your name and email, and I will respond with you for your logins for April the 14th to 21st, and that will be at tradinglounge.com. So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. So yeah, I think I've actually just rearranged this a little bit in here actually, but either way, we'll have a look at that. We'll look at that in a moment. But 3, 4 and 5 here. Also, I want to mention too is that for the time being, I'll be taking over the US sectors on our website. So I'm going to drop a couple of them. I'm dropping 2, but I'm going to add another 4 or 5. So we're going to be covering, in the US sectors, we're going to be covering GDX, we're going to be covering the Triple Q and the SPY, and GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF as well. So I'm going to just cover them with a weekly chart and a daily chart. The weekly chart I'll try to just update each week, and the daily chart I'll update when necessary. I've got a fair bit of work on, so it's a bit difficult for me to do everything, but any sort of changes, yeah, I mean, I'll be more sort of focused on the GBTC, Triple Q, and the SPY and GDX, and some of the other ones are very important as well. I mean, because I'm in Australia, we're also adding the energy ETF, and also the materials ETF as well. Yeah, so that gives me a better grip of what's going on over my side of the world as well. Okay, so moving in here to the 1000 tick area in here, I'm thinking it's a little bit like this here. So the only difference that I've actually made here is last time we spoke, I had this wave 4 here, but now I'm going to use this wave 4 here. And maybe I've updated it on here. Let me just go back in here and have a little look here just to show you what I've done here. I've changed a little bit of it. Let me just probably, oh no, I still kept it the same there. That's okay though. 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 here, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, because this is really the nice sort of move in the middle of the structure here. So 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3 4 5 up here for this. So I've dropped it back 1 degree, and I might drop stocks back 1 degree as well. But the banks still sit quite nice. There's still stocks that sit nicely with this as wave 4. So I'm kind of Arthur and Martha about some of them, but I'll get there in the end. So in this case here, we can buy new highs here. We do have a little impulse wave here. The only other little caveat that I need to mention here as well, I mean, we do have a little ABC pattern here, so that's probably done and dusted. We could look at this as 1 and 2, 1 and 2, but we could end up with 1 2, yeah, 1 2. I have to pull that apart. 1 2 3. We could end up with a little move like this here before going up again. Okay, so that's why I've put that here and not on the top here. But I'll leave that up to you to navigate. The more that you can see the number 2 there as a tested support, then the better off you're going to be as a you know, as a trade to the upside. So that's where we are for the S&P. Okay, so I just want to have a quick look at the banks. So with the banks here, this is BAC. It had its low coming in like a year later from the indices and so on. But basically 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and counting this up for 3 4 5 up here for 3. So it should come pretty close to the 40. The 38's the issue area here. Well, 36.50, 37.20, and 38 is minor group 2. So that's what it's actually vibrating through at the moment. And yeah, so this, we'll look at this here. So 1 2 3 4 5. So this is kind of interesting when you think about it, really, because after this correction coming down here, right? Let's just put the big if there. If we get 1 2 3 4, and as soon as we see this is correct as a corrective pattern, then I'll know that we're going to get 5. But if we get this 1 2 3 4 5 here, then we have to label it wave 1 at that point. And then that becomes, and it may not even make a new high above here. I mean, the other banks have made, you know, JP's made a move above here, but this 5 waves here will give us another 5 waves to the upside. So you can see the bullishness in the market. And I believe this is going to be the case when I look at most of the other banks around the world kind of follow this. Well, no, the Australian banks are sort of following these banks, and And it is the banks that normally lead us out of recessions as well, because you've got to follow the money, so to speak. It wasn't always the case. In COVID, it was a little bit different, but that was a different thing as well. There was a lot of money being pumped into the system, and tech stocks were becoming very sort of centralized, like they did in the dot-com bubble, where it was only, a small handful governing the market at that point, so it becomes a little bit risky at that point. But it is nice to see the banks here. So to get this 5 waves up here is going to be really just another little sort of, just ticking boxes basically. This is this is another reason I think we'll get 5 waves, because Morgan's here has taken out this top here where the Bank of America hasn't, but this started a year earlier. So this is a very clear 1, 2, 1, 2. This move up here is not corrective. It's impulsive. So the only caveat here is you could put this over here, but I prefer it over here. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, very much like the S&P, because it's the banks pulled back and overlapped over here. So basically same up here, nice strong move up here, 1 and 2, slowing down a bit, but 3 and 4 here. So I think we could put this over to here for this and this here, and so I need to do a bit more work on that. I wasn't quite happy the way that finished, but anyway, I could put that here. I haven't really looked at it on an intraday basis, but I'm not that fast. It's just going to sort of play around here. Once it sort of vibrates around here enough, this here will create, this is the arrival and the reaction here. So this is really this pattern here, the arrival, the reaction. We'll look for the first high above the level. We can get in, start to build over this side of the fence over here. So that means that this one will be here, this will be here. So we can build in on this, on this one over here for this, and trade this wave 5 up here for that. But that's a fair way away just yet. And this will be like wave 4 over here, and then wave 5 over here, and then wave 1 over here, and wave 2 back over here, that type of thing, So it's going to be, this is all pretty easy to navigate this stuff here. But these when you get into all these 4s here, then it gets a little bit trickier. So we've got to get through all of this stuff, and and then it'll be the ABC here will be pretty clean, I'd imagine. And then the next trend to the upside, which it's pretty hard to conceive, but things continue to grow. So basically 1 and 2 here. So this is going to be, if this is correct, we're going to be in such a big bull run here. This is this is we're talking sort of retirement stuff there. Okay, so that's the bank. Sorry to waffle on so long. And we come over to the tech stocks. So with Apple here, we're just looking at, in a way, you think Apple's doing no good and it's rotten to the core and all those sort of things. But at the same time, in a way, it's actually kind of in front of the markets in its own little way, because it's already done a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and we're looking for the ABC pattern here. Now the ABC pattern here can be seen in 2 ways. So it doesn't really matter at this point, it's because we don't have a nice clean impulse wave to the upside. And in fact, this particular move here is in 3 waves, so we still haven't taken that low out here yet, which is something that we need to do. But basically the A wave, the B wave, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the only caveat here is that we can put this wave 4 here, but I don't kind of like that too much. But I know that even when we run our Elliott Wave computer algo on it, it puts it at this wave 4 as well. But I'll just I don't have enough confidence just yet with that. The algo needs to prove itself first. So and hopefully we put that algorithm on the website this week too. Just trying to get it sort of sorted. And it'll only be in beta format as well, and it'll only be for US stocks, but you can do automated Elliott Wave counts for for whatever US stocks, but they're only US stocks at this stage. Okay, so yeah, we could have a low in here and go up from that point, or we have a rally for wave 4 here and then come down for wave 5 and finish off for wave 2. So there's a few. I think it's just not going to be ready for quite some time anyway. But anyway, just going into the 1000 tick area here. So we've got wave 3 and 4. And as I mentioned, this low here, where I've got this line here, we need to basically breach that. We haven't breached it yet. So we're looking at this being 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's still to come down here further. But look, I have to say anything can pretty much come out of the box at this point, you know. So yeah, I'm not that fussed about it. But yeah, we can either have a low here or we get another ABC pattern here and then we have another low here. But I think that it's all good sort of buying around this area here, because I can see that the market actually doesn't want to go down any further. You know, from this point here, that's like quite some time ago, you know, it hasn't really gone down very much at all. And how it ends here, this story ends here, I'm not quite sure, but we'll just see, you know, we'll just see how it plays out. That's the alternative 4 up there, otherwise it plays out something like this. But it's just going to get messy, so I don't want to get really involved in it too much, but that's kind of, it's going to be something like that. Amazon here is on track. Here we've got a few trades in here, and one of the things that we were looking for, and you may have added another position in here, but I didn't put it into the portfolio, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if you're there, that's good. We've got the stop at 176, I think. And yeah, so the thing here is the 180 has got the tested support now, so it was resistant through here, and you know, this is where the main battle was, and then it's come back and tested it. So you could go long here if you wish, and we're going to be going up to close to the 200. Now, I haven't labeled these last two little structures here because I can see 3 different ways to label all of this from this particular point here. So I'm not going to just do it. I'll just see how it stretches itself out, and then we can look at it at that point. I mean, I could go a 1 and 2 here. There's a couple of ways I could do it, you know. I'm not that fussed about it. We're on the right track, so we're just going to stay with it. So no drama there. Okay, Meta platforms. This is a weekly chart, I believe. Yeah, so it's a weekly chart. So basically 1, 2 here, and going up for wave 3, 4, and 5 up here. Once again, hard to see this being wave 1 and back for wave 2 again, but that's basically the general pattern in the markets. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of Elliott people wanting to put tops in here, and a lot of Elliott people have got this as 3 and 4. I understand that, but you know, the AI is just taken off, and it's not going to resolve everything. You know, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes, and you know, a lot of fear in the initial stages of it. But I see it being, you know, from what I can gather so far with researching it and listening to some, you know, the heads that are leading it and so on, is that it's still really in its early stages. You know, like it's very early stages. It's still, you know, it's still I don't know, 10 years away or something, really. I mean, before you have sort of, or even 30 years before you have sort of sentient beings running around, so to speak. So, and then there's also the supercomputers too, which will be another trend coming in. So there's nothing but change coming. So to see this as the top of a market, the end of the story over here in Elliott terms, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But who am I to judge? Anyway, as long as I keep continuing to see impulse waves to the upside, I'm going to remain bullish. So we're picking up from wave 2, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. Very much the same as the S&P and the NASDAQ. We're going to sort of keep dragging everything into the same thing. So let's just cruise in here to the daily chart here to give you a bit of get this working a little bit here. So So I can have this as an alternative wave 4 here, but from 1 and 2, we've got 1 and 2 here, and going all the way up for wave 3 and 4 here. And then we've got 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th up to here. So we're going up to the 3rd wave. We've got some long positions in here, so we've got to count 5 waves up there. It's possible to put wave 4 here, so I'm not really sure about that just yet either. So I'll just go on the consensus of other markets like, you know, Amazon and Microsoft and Google, and I know they can all do their own things as they do, but there will be some sort of, you know, line through the story with all of these. So I'll just try to tune into that a bit more. I think I might, I don't know if I got any on the 20 here. No, I haven't updated that. That's okay. Let's go to the 1000. So yeah, just picking it up from this wave 2 here as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, a nice strong third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave here. So before I had this over here as this particular one here, but I'm going to use this 1 degree smaller here. And so it just changes a little bit here in terms of well, we've got blue wave 3 here, blue wave 4 here, or blue wave 4 over here. So I'm just looking at all the possibilities here. That's a low on that one, so it's 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So I don't, all this could be counted differently. That's the problem with this, right? My next step within all of this is using the trading levels, and we've got 500 here. So we've got 10, 20 and 30. So my thing is if we get support on the 30 here, then we can move the stop up. But we don't have support on top of 530 yet, on top of minor group 1. And that's what we'll be looking for. I could put this over to here because it made it a little high. I could put this here and this here and this wave 4 here. I'll see how it goes. I could also put this as wave 1 up here as well. So there's a few things. I just want support on the 530, and then I want to have a look at how the structure develops, and then I'll be able to say what's what, because I'll be able to look at the different ratios between structures and so on. But we're in the building process. We're either building from here or building from over here for this. But the next step for me, you might know something, you might see something else which would be great if you want to share in the chat room. And yeah, but I want support on that 530, so that's what I'm looking for at the moment. Once we've got that, then we can move the stop up to break even here from the 496 area. Okay, NVIDIA. So we know NVIDIA in the bigger picture is, you know, looking a bit toppy here, coming up into the 1000, and 1 is the strongest number, so it's being shy of that already. But I believe this is corrective. I'm just trying to figure it out, and I can go the A, the B, and the C wave down to this point here. I could also put this over to here and this here, and look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and have another low in place. So I haven't adjusted the stop on the portfolio, but we got to wait. We're not going to get stopped out here, and we're going to go long above here for folks who don't have a position here as well. So we may have the low in, or we may get another low, and you'll need to move the stop out the way for that, because we're definitely in a corrective pattern here, and we will be pushing up. It's just, do we go from this point? Because I don't have a little 5-wave structure here yet. So I can't prove and I can't say that we're going up from here because I don't have an impulse wave. If I had an impulse wave here, then I could say that, but I don't, so I can't. So I have to look at the worst case scenario at one more little move to the downside. So we're over to Netflix here, and just on a weekly chart once again. So in a way, we're basically tying it into the rest of the markets here. They're not all perfect tying into each other at this stage, but I'm getting there with it. So there's a weekly chart, and we come over to, so wave 1 here, wave 2 here. We can have this as an alternative wave 2 as well. That also works. And 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we've got this here, a little bit small for this wave 4 here, but we'll just see. But at the same time, we'll get some sort of classic trading levels pattern happening here. So I could bring this wave 4 up to here, but it's kind of extending it a little bit too much. So I haven't really changed this, or haven't changed this one. So let's just go to 1000 here. 100, actually, we need to go to 100. But basically, while we're here, we're looking at for this, and this up here. So it'd be something like this. Now it doesn't have to be like this. This here could be down to here, and this could come back up and come to here, and those sort of things, and push up a little bit further depending how strong it needs to be. But basically that 650 is a medium level, halfway between 5 and 8. So we will highly likely see some type of pattern across here. So it's really important not to buy and sell, like, you know, until this is matured, because once a corrective pattern matures, then you can kind of have more confidence of what it is at that point. I think we've been working over here on this. So we've had this when we spoke last time. We've had this as wave 3 here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So probably 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and probably 1 and 2. We've taken out the top here, so we should move up further. Just haven't really secured a nice thing on number 3 here, which is all, wherever you see number 3 is group 1. So it's still sort of doing that. So we could put this over here for this as well as a wave 1 and 2 in here, but we should be pushing up further into this play here. I think we also had talked about some sort of trade in here as well for that. So if that is the case, I don't think I'll put it in the portfolio, but if that is the case, we need to leave the stop out of the way here if you've got that. So I'll just manage that anyway, but you know, it's going to be tough going up through here for this, okay? And then we come over to Google, and as you know, we'd look at this as an A and a B and a C. We've taken the top out here, and we've been looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for 1 and 2. Now, I could put wave 2 here because we've got like a little A, B, C pattern here, but it's a little bit small, so we could come down here further. I'm not quite sure, but I know that we need to buy the top here now because it's tested. We can drop it down to the second high here, but don't overdo it here just in case it pushes up here and then pushes back down here. Okay, so we'll need to hold on to that. We've got enough profit on this one to have a crack at this one at a reasonable sort of price at this point. But this here in 3 waves here, if that top gets taken out here, then it forces this move down here in 3 waves. It forces it to be corrective if it takes that top out. So even if it took this top out here and then came down, the good news is that this is in 3 waves and it makes it corrective. And because it's corrective, it could do anything over here, but it would eventually take the top out here because this is corrective. That's the good news. Okay, so we'll see how that sort of plays out. You could probably get a little 5 waves out of there and drop that down to here as well. But I'll leave you to check that. Make sure there's 5. You got 5 in there at that point, and yeah. Otherwise, that's that. And yeah, so we could push up, or we pull back a little bit further. I don't know yet. We'll see. I mean, technically, you know, technically we can come back to the 61.8% here. So that's. I can't say I forgot to mention something like that, but that's that. Okay, so for Microsoft, we've got a few positions in here, and yeah. Anyway, we should push up here further. I mean, one of the things too here is I'll probably just push this out of the way for a little bit, but yeah, this is corrective now. If I can just borrow this here. That's a B wave. I could probably do that a bit differently as well, but it doesn't really matter. This is wave C here anyway, so I could put that there. It's probably a WXY here for the B wave, but the C wave down here, that kind of helps it finish this correction off. It gives it a nice proportion and ratios as well. So, and it looks a little bit impulsive here. Probably needs to go up one more move here for that, but we should be pushing up here. Up here a little bit higher. But what I want to see here eventually is I want to see if we actually get support on this number 3, on the 43 here. It's allowed to go down to in my world, in the trading levels world, it can come down to the 415. It could come even lower, but we don't want to see that as the resistance. So what will eventually happen is we'll probably take this trade, this stop here, and put it under any low that comes into there, which will make these break even. Here. So if you wanted to take part profit up here somewhere, that would, you know, take something off the table, that would be fine, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to establish if this number here is going to become the support. If that's going to become the support, we're going up from that point, and then it'll, in hindsight, look silly that we got out. So taking the next logical step, once we trade above the 430, if the 420 later on becomes the retested resistance, it's okay to spike down, but it's not allowed to take out the low that it creates, you know. And if it does that, then we're out. But otherwise, we can stay in and we'll have it at break even, and everything will be. We've done all the right things at the right time. It's all. you know. So that's that. And Tesla, not really spending much time on, but this move here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2s and 1 and 2, 1 and 2s don't normally sort of play out very often, but you never know. We'll see how that goes. But otherwise, we can look at it as a wave 4 over here. I'll just get this into here first. So this is the little pocket that it can come back to. And otherwise, it's a wave 4 over here with an A, B, C, D, and E over here for wave 4. And then we still come down. The interesting thing here now is that we have made a low below. Oh, have we? Not quite. We could get 5 waves out of that. Yeah, looks more like 3. Anyway, we'll see. This is not a buying opportunity at the moment. We need. I won't go into the bigger picture just yet. We've already seen that. There's a couple of ways we can look at this. So it could be a wave 4 and come down to a wave 5 here, or it can come down a bit further. But it hasn't really dropped out of group 2 here, 65, 72, and 80. It's really holding up in there. And yeah, so it should be interesting. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. We're not ready to make a move on this market just yet. So I'll leave that at that. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.